and ladies, if there are indeed any watching. In fact, if indeed there are any gentlemen watching. I wasn't going to do this because I would miss so many people out, but I thought, you know, no, I had such a good time, I enjoyed meeting people so much, I am going to actually do this video and mention one or two people. I'm going to start with what to many will be the usual suspects, and that is Funky Roach, Pete Wiseman. Through them I met Talith Durnan, who, pleased to meet a lot of you. A couple of guys I met at Funky's camp who had come over from Ireland. The cost and the effort involved in that, you know, respect to you. I'm not sure I could have managed it at all. Really pleased to meet all of you, every single one of them. Absolute gentlemen, absolute pleasure to meet. Encountered a lack of attitude and a lack of negative edge that seems so rare to not encounter these days. You know, not one problem. Camp Baza has to get a mention. What a bunch of hospitable people that is. The main people I watch from that setup are Foxy, Brybo and Stoney BushCraft, who Stoney just turned around out of the blue and said, "Here, mate, have a couple of knives. We've never met before, he doesn't know me from Adam, and this guy is such a nice guy and so generous." He just said, "Here, take some of my work." And that is, I can't remember the last time I encountered that kind of thing. I really can't. And I'm so glad that I met you guys. A huge apology to the rest of the guys that I met around that camp who I might not mention their name. Because in my kit I found a huge blob of what you can only describe as papier-mâché. That was bits of paper, bits of lists that had names written down on them, who people were, little aid memoirs so I remember who was who and where I met them, and I'm sorry, it just turned into pulp. Can't make head and tail most of it. Nick Berry. Now, I don't care what your YouTube name is, I really do not give a flying damn about that, because from the Sunday night onwards, I will refer to you as Famous Grouse, and you know why. Two guys with you. Pleasure to meet the two of you. Can't remember your names, sorry. One of you in particular, I ran out of steam on the Monday, packing the last of my gear away. My backside hit the chair and I was going to be there for the duration. This guy stepped up, got stuck in, finished packing my tent away for me, and then they provided me with a cooked breakfast. So big thanks for that guy, because I really was running on empty when I got to that point. Is that outdoors? I only spoke briefly a couple of times, but pleasure to meet you, enjoying your channel, we'll be watching it a lot in future. Andy Doberman, respect for this man as a knife maker is ridiculous, and I am so glad that you actually managed to get there in the end, really glad about that. And, you know, can't go by without saying huge thank you for this. I will always value this knife, I will always cherish it, and a big part of that is because its history of the use that you've put it to. The fact that it is a used knife, it is a knife you've owned, it's a knife that's travelled with you to a lot of places, a lot of distant places. And it also has Doberman lasered into it, so, you know, that will go in the collection. It will also form, I think, a companion to one of my crossbows, because the camo on the sheath pretty much matches up the camo on the bow. Real pleasure to meet you, Andy. Thanks for being there in having my back, basically, in case I needed digging out and a big amount of help, which you offered to give up front. That takes me on to Big John. Big John, the Geordie, big northeast bushcrafter, because there's actually two very similar names. Because John offered invaluable help in making the plan come together. Now he knows what we're talking thanks John. That couldn't have happened without you doing what you did. Which leads me to a guy who is Northeast Bushcraft, who was camped next to me with his daughters. Really great to see that his daughters so engaged with the whole camping bushcraft genre and activities. I've got two daughters. I tried for years to get them interested, and their basic response tended to be along the lines of, well, where would we plug the straighteners in, Dad? Oh, I always regret that, so you know, enjoy it as much as you can, and girls, stick with it, please stick with it. And a big thank you to you for the offers of help that were never ending, plus the supply of meat that you laid on, venison, rabbit, very much appreciated by all who got involved with it, I assure you. And I'll extend that to another Scottish guy who was on the other side of me, who again, constant offers of help if I needed it, really friendly people, a spirit of comradeship. It's a long time since I've experienced that, a long time. And I extend that to a lot of people around the show. Every name you can name on YouTube, every name that I watch, everyone I met, I think every single one of them said, if you need any help, if you need anything doing, give us a shout and we'll sort it. So for that, I mean, a big part of what I was doing there was I wanted to do it for myself. I wanted to do stuff myself as much as I could. But even so, knowing that people have your back, it's nice to know. So thank you to all of you, and you know, hope I see you again. And I hope it's next time. If not before then, I hope it's at next year's BushCraft Show, if they let me in. Okay, and an apology to all the guys who the bits of paper with your names on that are lost. I am so sorry. And that brings me to one that I have actually missed off that I am going to mention, because my involvement with this community through YouTube starts with a guy called Real Big Monkey 1, who's an American guy, lives in, I can't remember if it's Georgia or maybe it's Virginia in the States. And it was his videos that actually, on the sidebar where you get the related videos, I spotted the videos of a guy called Scott Williams, Wessex Blayton Bushcraft now. And I've got to say that it was from his videos that I linked to all the other, the Funkies, the Roaches, the Pete Mine Wisemans, all the rest of them were basically contacts in that chain of contacts from Scott. So it was wonderful to meet with Scott, wonderful to meet you. As you know, you've sent to me, I've got one of your knives. That was on for the whole show. I set out to work that knife because the knife deserves to be worked. And again, thank you for the blade. And the triple threat, which I did mention. I think I showed it to some young guys who were starting fires, and they were amazed with it. They thought it was probably the best thing since sliced bread. And I mentioned to Delve Darker and Knives, because a lot of guys mentioned you. It was great to see Sandy and Lee get there. A lot of people were really happy about that, and it was such an honour to meet such skilled artisans, artists. You know, and in Lee's case, especially, take a step back, Lee, look at your work and think, I did that. I'd be bloody proud, because it's amazing, it really is amazing. You know, you're turning that stuff out in what amounts to a shed. That is phenomenal. That is phenomenal. You know, and absolute pleasure to meet all of you. Del would have completed my set of knife makers on YouTube. Now, there are more, I know that. It's just, you know, that's where my journey started, with this group of knife makers. And I've now met most of them, which I'm really pleased to have done. That was part one. Huge thank you I'm not going to go into the huge details of it, but I had problems and issues, even being able to go to the BushCraft Show. And a lot of the reason that I actually got there and actually enjoyed every single bloody minute of it at the end of the day is because of the people I met there, the people I spoke to before we went, and the fact that I knew I was going somewhere where one guy was basically on station so he could help me out if it was needed, or when it was needed. And I knew I'd meet a bunch of people who would get involved if it was needed. So, that's part one, guys. And I apologise for the mess that it is. I apologise for whatever could have gone wrong with the camera, because I still don't know what I'm doing with the damn thing, and I don't know what I'm doing filming these videos. So you just have to cope. So, if I can get up and turn it off, I should have got one with the remote. I'll say cheerio and move on to part two.